Good morning, Dr. Brad.
Hello, Kurt.
We just finished a short.
We did.
I have a clean coffee cup,
Hmm.
and that's because before we started, I noticed how dirty my coffee cup was, and that I could not be seen with a coffee cup that dirty.
It was appalling.
And I noticed, are you showing your coffee cup?
No,
No, okay. I was going to say it is.
I was going to do it, but then I was ashamed. You see,
Today is Sunday, June 2nd. This is a working session. We're going to continue our work on embodiment, which is the way we want to address the development of the mind. And we are going to work through, I have to remount all this stuff in my head, so we're going to walk through that overview again, and then we're going to pick out what we're going to work on, which I do not know because I did not get up and start working early enough this morning to figure that out ahead of time. So, are you ready, Dr. Brad? Do you want to do?
I'm ready. May I address the audience, please? To suggest that they can hit the subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell, and then they can leave comments below, as they always may. Now Kurt's ready.
Now I'm ready. All right. Share screen. How much fun are you going to make me before I figure out how to share the screen?
We have to give a reasonable delay time.
I do? Yeah.
Well, no, I have to look like I'm patient.
You have to.
That worked.
It was the way you were looking. That's what did it.
There you go.
Oh, I've made you bigger so I can see your charming visage. All righty. I have gone through and done some macro work, but not much. Let's go down here and see where we are. Here's the see, what are we getting consistent across all chapters? So what's the macro point we want to make? Ternary logic, stable relations, right? Evolutionary computation, the ternary logic of behavior produces, and we've applied it to, and it solves. And then we have what our sections are supposed to look like. We've got some notes for myself. And then we start out with basically a quote that brings it into view. Then we go through the introduction. And this is the points we want to get across. Then we start out with embodiment, which is the how the brain, right, consists of measurement. And then we work through to homeostasis.
Yes.
Right, how the body measures and regulates itself so that it can persist. Then how measurements are formed by what is a neuron and what do neurons do. How neurons survive, compete, organize, grow, and prune. Basically, the economy of neurons. We haven't done that. How neurons compete with dendrites. The story of dendritic computation. And then we get to what are neurons transmitting, which is memories, which I've still been pondering how to improve. I think it's one of those things where you can either imagine it or you can't. I'm not sure. How they're organized into layers, the result of the organization of the associations between neurons, how do neurons work together, right? What's the resulting information produced by them, the hierarchy of memories. Then what is perception? I don't know why I have this. Shouldn't that be a different? a different bold measurement. There's perception. Work together. Okay, which is the cortical columns and how this is aggregated. I feel like there needs to be a heading here.
That sounds right.
Yeah, there needs to be a heading here.
Hmm.
What the deal? What is this?
There you have numbers.
Yeah, what's that? What is that? Is that a heading or something? That's a topic title. That's what I got wrong.
Hmm.
No.
You didn't highlight it before you did it.
Measurements. What's the operational? The neurons take measurements. You summary of measurements? I don't know. What is it?
There you go.
And then this is the right. Fascinating. Oh, this is where I said we have to change the font weight of the subtopic. Just to think this is. Probably closer. That seems about right. If I told you we wanted that size or that size,
I like the bigger one.
yeah. I think it needs it. Why are you having a hard, why are you giving me a hard time here? I go ahead and screw that up. Doesn't matter. So we want 1.4. Where's my notes? Come on, baby, you can do it.
Hmm.
what do you call it, subtopic?
Yeah.
Oh, we have real work to do here.
Yes.
All right. Division of labor among the sexes. The sexes, senses,
Mhm.
mix that up. Integration, representation. Yeah, we already did that. Pattern recognition, indexing. Memory. So we added, Brad gave me more work,
Right.
intuitions and the subconscious. Then we have incentives. Consolidation of global state, which is easy. Did we already do intuitions?
It's up there.
In the wrong place.
Right there.
Okay. Two different things.
Hmm.
Yes, you have two kinds of intuitions. I don't know how to, I want to talk about this, see if you can have an idea here.
Yeah.
So basically, all that's happening in this whole structure of your brain is the search for coherence, right? Which is basically, so at the low level, you're saying consistency. At the higher level, you're saying coherence, because they're the logical consistency of something at low level is like it relates to itself. When you get to coherence, the logical consistency is how things relate to other things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you are when you say that doesn't make sense, right? Or see, here's how I get it. It's the intuitions that are visible, the intuitions that are invisible.
Okay.
This is what we want. Introspectable. So
Okay.
these are the things that feed our subconscious. these are things that feed our conscious.
Okay,
So like you can bring that up and question it, right? But you don't actually the reason I'm trying to get to this is that in the end, it's all intuition,
right,
right? Does that make sense? You're relying on on intuition, which is your neural hierarchy's capacity to determine consistency, coherence, and possibility. You know, there's
right.
Right.
You're limited in that realm.
right. And so I don't know another word for that. I don't know how to describe it. Is the okay? Let me ask this fucking thing.
Hmm.
Oh, sorry.
My goodness. There you are.
Think. Okay. The subject is the subject is intuition. There exists pre-conscious, pre-intuition, which logical consistency at low level, same measures at medium level, we call coherence, which is between and at the high level, which we call possibility, right? Preconscious intuition, which allows we can introspect so what I hope to contain now with that information the I want to point that at the end of the road, cognitive road, really, it's beginning.
Hmm.
All we always start with some logic of consistency. In other words, in the end, without rigorous use of language and recursive thought, we are, even then, it doesn't matter. In the end, doesn't matter what, we are all bound by intuition, meaning our neurological ability to test for consistency, occurrence, and probability, possibility. Does that make sense?
That's a weird question to pose after that paragraph, man.
Well, the problem, you know what it'll do is it will just explain what you explain back. Or it'll just show that it understands you, but it won't say, it won't tell you if it makes sense. So you ask that question.
Fixed coherence.
What?
Fixed coherence.
So what,
Thank you.
you know what's interesting? This is fun. So it tokenizes these words.
Yeah.
So you don't know is it might tokenize it.
Yeah.
This. Or it's probably coherent coherence.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to tokenize it into something like this. So, and it's going to look for the closest spelling.
Oh.
In other words, it actually does compensate for spelling, which is fun. It's just what we do. It's
Yeah.
So does that make sense? And if so, why? Why? And two, how might I disambiguate between those levels? Is there any, are there any terms? Three levels. Uniquely. Well, I gotta hit the enter button when it's in this mode. Oh, perceptual, associative, and projective.
Oh, that's very good.
That's very good. It pays to ask.
Very nice.
Okay, so let's see. Existing terms, bottom up and top down, implicit, working memory, and prospective. I like the other terms better. Empirical, rational, and imaginative. That's the next level up.
Yeah.
Jesus. See, you don't get these. I always try to go over to Claude and see how it's doing,
Yeah.
but I don't get this. I get it gets you better writing. All right, so shall we use these?
I like those.
I think we should cover it. Oh, interesting. Integration. So do we say what all three of them are here? And then address the other two later? Yes,
I'd say so. You introduce the construction of intuition,
yes,
and then you stick to the perceptual intuition.
let's just do it rather than just make a note. Right, so I'm just gonna do this for my to save my memory.
Yeah.
You can go far enough. Okay, that's what I got wrong. It's integration start. Integration. No, I'll leave it this way.
Okay.
Okay, so how did I ask the fucking question? It's actually the two things. Boom. Right here. So what do you, so I don't need to do that. All I need to say is what's happening.
Yeah,
So we're gonna call these. Hierarchy of intuition. Like I just done it this way. Right? Should I do it this way or should I do it both ways? Like this way and then explain it. What did I just do? What just happened?
yeah, I don't know where you went.
Thank you. Hit the V instead of the
Hmm.
C. So hit the V instead of the C. So we do.
Yeah,
I had to beat my lord of consistency over here to the punch.
hmm.
You.
Yeah, I know who it is.
How
There you go.
do I describe it? Um, Similar. What's wrong with similar? Oh, I had an extra I in there.
Hmm.
Let's,
Very weird. It's like such abstract thought.
you get these guys, they've finally come to you. Oh, I get it. All we're doing is serialization, operationalization. Disambiguation by operationalization and serialization to create a system of measurement. That's all we're doing.
It's a lot harder than it looks. Since it sounds so much like English.
Yeah, but this was a great example. Here's three different fields and how they look at the same problem, right? And here's how we unify the fields with the same problem. What's the difference? These are stories in
Yeah,
the context of the discipline. These are operational functions in the context of the machine or the mechanical biological process that are actually doing it.
that's right.
Great example. Intuition is the ability to understand how something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning or good thought. I love that it did it. It used our terms.
Hmm.
Consistency. Why does this sound? What should we say this is? Consistency and patterns. The fuck does that mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't think this is right either. This is,
I think that you can leave it like that. Consistency and patterns and sensory input is reasonable.
well, what's the difference between patterns and consistency? Consistent patterns? I mean, seriously, I think it's bothering me, because what's the difference?
Detect patterns. Detect and respond to patterns. My.
What just happened?
Well, you got rid of your subtitles.
Fuck. What just happened?
You got rid of your subtitles.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know how to get them back.
Just make it again.
Jesus Christ, what is going on here? Brad, it's one of those fucking days, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to be here. The unconscious, I want to copy that. I want to go in here, I want to paste that. Fucking thank you very much. I think this doesn't need to be here because it's below. The unconscious. hierarchy.
Okay.
I'm having that feeling right now as I'm doing
that?
this. Brad is a fucking saint. No other person in his right mind would sit with me and do this. Did I just imply you were in your right mind by doing this? I'm not sure I meant that part.
I understand. I
You're not sure
regard it
either.
as there's a limit there somewhere.
Just love you.
Just like, okay.
You know, I can get other guys to do it, but they can't focus. How hard is it to maintain your focus on this? Is it hard?
No.
No. I think that's the thing. I wonder. Yeah. Wow, that was pretty good.
Was good.
We did good work. Oops, there's an extra period there. I actually found one that Brad did.
I wasn't spotting that. I was doing other things.
Do I get like I need a little
Click
chalkboard on behind me for the few wins that I get.
Oh my.
So there's what we want to do is we want to create the, why is that? Oh, that's why. Grammatical problem here. There we go. There's Jesus, that's well, I love working with Dr. Brad. Okay, so we want to I want to do here. So we want to do perceptual and associative. Right? That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
We actually need to, though.
I think the associative one is going to be useful.
Explain.
The associative one is paraconscious. Okay. The perceptual one is subconscious.
You used a new word I don't understand. I didn't know that word. You knew something I didn't know.
Don't tell anybody, Kurt. They'll start expecting it. There it is. I like how I put it into intuition. That was pretty cool.
Well, it knows what we're talking, right? We've given it a context.
Right. So the functionality of it is see you have subconscious, paraconscious, and then fully conscious. This is like this is the paraconscious is the form of intuition that is informed by the religion.
So is it like this? I don't know if that's true. Thank you. Shit. I like this. So how do we bring this about? So
So
because
it's like
there's three kinds, right? There's subconscious, paraconscious, and conscious, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I want to have below that. So let's just make a note here. So we have the conscious is directed.
That's informed, and that one is understood.
Give me that sounded smart. Give me that again.
Subconscious is understood. Pre the it's interesting. It turned into preconscious. It's informed by some other factor.
Paraconscious. Paraxial and it's what am I doing wrong? Oh, that's why it spell checked it. Paracon SCIOUS, right? I spelled it right.
Yes.
Hey, what's the relationship between these two? This is all subconscious, right? Yes, this is all subconscious. So it's something I'm doing here, not rigging with you.
I'm hanging with it. I'm just trying to just murk is
Well, oh, you guys are giving me a heart attack here.
working you.
What the hell? Can you have a talk with this thing, Brett?
Wait,
It needs a little. I mean, you don't like telling people what to do. So I mean, can you have
yeah, I
a
do.
thing and tell
It's
what?
true. Oh.
Why did I even do that? Why didn't I just do this? Maybe I should think about how we're going to tell this story differently now. So this is the subconscious intuitions. Right?
Okay.
So we want to go with subconscious. So we want to go with subconscious.
Oh,
I should be consistent with my capitalization.
that would be good.
Right, so the point, so we want a summary. Why is that doing that? Damn it. What does understood mean? Let's,
That's a weird thing.
yeah, let's
It's just like, yeah, it's just like,
into, because you want to say it's intuited. Right, okay, in this text. Um, one, help it out here. We'll probably figure it out. Integrated, because that's the word we use. Integrated, informed, directed. Oh, that's really good. That's where the section.
right.
So how do I make this point? This is just entertainment value. I'll probably get something valuable out of it, so. I don't like the way it's, I can't do logical. Fuck, that was pretty good. Yeah, well, it certainly understands what we're saying. Okay, so we haven't done that, have we?
Which is just funny, it, it looks to me like, there's a, Markov chains, right?
Yes.
And it's like, it's Markov chains inside the brain, man. It's like just banging around and they're finding a way out.
I just had this beautiful vision. Is this very clear visualization of these lost little Markov chains trying to figure out how to get out.
I just want out of the brain, man. Just let me out. I'm in a hall of mirrors here.
Fuck, that's hysterical. It's hysterical because it's true.
Oh my, be fighting for competing for attention, but so that
Yes.
I can be released. Oh, there's a song that so despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a
The
cage.
cage, yes.
Someone get that to soundtrack and put it to this video,
Where's
please.
your coffee cup so I can make a short about this? This is fucking awesome. Here, I'm gonna do
writing it
Brad.
down.
I'm gonna do the Brad wave. Mark this one.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good man.
I'm all out of focus again.
Yeah, you are. I was gonna say something, but I was focusing on writing Markov chains in my book here.
Why is it not correcting it this time?
Very guard.
Uh,
Yes, that will work.
nope.
It failed. Takes time to allow it to readjust its dial.
I bought the camera that they said you should use for this, right? And I'm like, I'm happy with most of it except that.
Okay.
I'll say you should move around less in front of the camera. Okay, so note, Brad's story of Markov chains struggling to get let out the brain. That was fucking hysterical.
So,
But I hate that word. Or constructed. So the problem is, we've got to state these things. Subconscious. Arg. Well, that worked.
huh. Whoa.
How did that happen? Did we do it before or after? I didn't get confused. Yeah, in the we're gonna misspell that one.
Yeah.
You know, we'll do that too. It's important. That's actually an important thing.
Oh, yeah. He's often not, but most often not. What this discourse has caused me to ponder on the premise of it, which is the interesting function where people are operating in a paraconscious state most of the time, most people, and are not able to develop full consciousness and are unaware of it. They falsely believe themselves to be conscious. Awful. That makes me a little bit sad, and I'll drink some coffee.
I actually state this differently, and I like stating it this way. Give me a second. Paraconscious state, and not fully conscious most of the time. Which the rest of us suffer from. I don't know. It's
just awful, man. It's like it's about as rude of a thing to say as you can say.
Well, I say how I say it is I said there's this is better. So, well, in the dimensions, I actually wrote a post. I summarized all my posts on the dimensions of human yesterday, and I'm like, shit, I'm just going to turn that into an article, right? Because it posted because I can just refer people to that one article now instead of 5, right? But you have this thing where you develop your sensory and your integrative and your motor and your coordination, and then your prediction of the world, your regulatory reactions to the world, and then your social, and then your procedural, right? You develop that material, and some of it is interestingly have a bias where we prefer to live. And I always use Keanu Reeves as the typical sports guy who's appears verbally challenged, but he can express everything physically so well, which is why he's such a great action star. He's also makes him a great Buddhist in the Matrix, because that's actually him, right? I mean, he just doesn't talk a lot. It was funny to watch him in interviews because he'll make a lot of bodily motion instead of speak. It's funny. I mean, I love studying the guy specifically because he's such a good example of somebody whose motor cortex is dominant, right? And so you have people whose social part is dominant, right? And you have people whose procedural stuff is dominant, and you have those really fucking weird people that honestly they creep me out, who sensory stuff, and they do weird stuff like they put their lips on things, but it's just very creepy. It's like, okay, you didn't develop past the baby stage. That's really creeping me out. It's almost a curse knowing this stuff, because when you just don't know why a thing is, you say that's something, right? And you just move along. But when you know, you're like, yeah, that's really.
There's a curse there. It's a Doolittle's curse. So there's a curse. I don't know the name of it yet. I'm looking for it. I'm detecting the pattern here.
So I usually display it that way, but and then I say, well, there's the people who live in the dream state, right? Which is that's actually Amerindians. They live much closer. Their regulatory, their conscious experience is closer to the dream state, and I always think of white men as closest to the manipulating state. I don't know how to describe it. Right, it's way up here, but I really like this. The way you said is, well, people just live in paraconscious. And they're
right. So you talked about it as biases, and that's how the intuition is a bias, yes. And it's like a preference but it's not, it's less conscious.
Yes.
And they aren't aware of the fact that they're operating within these grooves that are driving their behaviors in this pattern. Mostly.
So it's actually, so, you know, I learned a lot from the women that I've been in relationships with, because they're social, I can't say this, but they're all experiments to me.
Oh my.
It's only in my
Well,
later
then
age I understand that I view everything everything's an experiment, as far as I can tell. I mean, that's how I think about the world, as experiments.
Sounds right.
So, and I love Amanda. She thinks I don't. She thinks I was just a, you know, what do you call it? A prize, a prize for you or something like that. No, I actually fucking loved the world. I loved you as a person. I love the world you make. I mean, I love everything about you. But, you know, I mean, it doesn't mean it always works out. I just did love you. So, but what I learned about her is how much a woman can live in the moment.
Yeah.
In other words, living in her feelings. And how, if you can get her to do that, how happy she is. Right? I mean, how completely I can live in my feelings, that's really good. But that's actually a somewhat paraconscious. In other words, it's not paraconscious. It's more that the dominant state is paraconscious, right? And you can move, she can certainly move into conscious things, right? But, you know, but there was a dominant paraconscious state, which had lower need for rational,
Yes.
no rational burden. And she was happy that way. And, you know, given my two wives are kind of on the brainy side, first wives are on the brainy,
Yes.
and my latter words were more emotional because I was looking for something else. You learn that these women can live in that state and that they're happy there. Whereas if I look at the women that don't live in that state, that I like because they don't, right? Because I could access their minds more easily, is that they're not as happy. They're not as happy in the rational state as they are in the emotional state. And you see that consistently. Now,
Yes.
it doesn't mean they can't be fulfilled intellectually, but that emotional state where you can live in the moment, that's very important to a lot of women. And so I began to understand it. And she's part of Amerindian, which she talked about how, here's how my people think about this.
Oh.
Right. And this is how my people feel about this. And so she would talk to Cree Indians, Canada's Cree, a lot of Cree Indians in Canada. And they're not the bad ones. Like there's the Apaches, those are the motherfuckers, right? And the Comanches.
Yeah, they live next door, so be nice.
Those are bad, those are scary motherfuckers, okay? But Cree, they're just nice people, right? You know, they're like Iroquois or something. Probably they're better than Iroquois. So anyway, so you're talking about and you begin to see how, if you listen carefully and you listen to them talk, their world is much more in this, they seek and find wisdom and comfort and peace of mind and stability in the paraconscious. And I think that's really fascinating difference. Like I can sort of get the Asian mind. I see what they're doing, but it's too close to, it's so close to ours, right? In neotenic evolution that, you know, you don't, it's a subtle difference. But when you listen to an Amerindian, and they're still living in that because they've still got that world, they live in that world, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Whereas if you go to Africa and you look at some of these African, and I don't have extensive experience with this, but I have some, and they live in that world, but it's more immediate. Whereas this Amerindian world is more, there's more time involved somehow. I don't know how to describe.
Yeah.
But there's this space and time aspect to their culture that is not present in African culture. So it's like less, it's more peaceful, than
Yeah,
say,
so I would call it dreamy versus nightmarish.
yeah. I'm going to my nightmare I had last night. Well,
You
can't
don't want to
think-
go there.
no, it was, they're never, my nightmares are really bad. Like bad, like people think, like horror, dying, whatever. They're just exasperating. You know what I mean? They're just, I can't solve this fucking problem. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, so I can't get the illusion of these Markov chains. Look when you look through a microscope and you see the little single-celled organisms running around trying
Yeah,
to do
bouncing
something.
around.
I have like a set of this vision of Markov, these little Markov chains, because they're all different shapes, right? And
Right.
they're all like running around like that on the 2D space of the set, trying to figure out how to get the hell out of here. And I can't get that out of my mind now, which is hysterical. All right. All right, so now that I've had that little break, I think we've actually killed this. So I asked it to give me a subconscious
Yes.
neurons.
Yes. There should be some, I think, mention of memory in there. Right? Because we have talked about memory above this, yeah?
Well, I think memories later, but we can add it here. I like this. What I want to get to is we filtering out the noise.
Yes. That's right. That's an interesting via negativa form for a neurologic function, right? It's just noise reduction.
You know, it's like,
Because there's so much signal coming in,
man.
and it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna ignore almost all of it. We usually don't think about the via negativa, right? It's noise suppression.
Hard for us to think about the via negativa in general. I mean, how often have we talked about this lately? Probably because of what we're working on. It's making us more forefront of our minds.
Yes.
But I mean, getting people to think in the via negativa is really sort of pulling your brain out, flipping it around a couple times, scrubbing it off, and sticking it back.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
Hmm.
I mean, I was having this with Martin the other day, and I'm like, well, dude, you know, for a guy who's that good to like, dude, do you understand? You know, and you start to say how that you run into this place where I never run into you because you're perfect, of course, but when you run into this place with people and you're like something, there's a pattern here, and that's blocking the person's progress, and I can't find it. And the first time I remember thinking about this was in 5th grade, and my teacher, who was a guy who I just worshipped, I thought he was fantastic. But, he was trying to teach trying to figure out where a girl was stuck in math. I think it was fifth grade math. So it's like, it's mostly times tables, division and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to help her, and I'm like, he can't, he's like, she's stuck. And I'm thinking, where is she stuck? In my little 5th grade and the 3rd row.
Right.
It was in the 4th row. What's the deal? Why is she stuck? Right. And so, and he's like struggling to find out where she's stuck, and he finally gets her there. Right. Well, I sort of see that with most people. They get stuck on a thing. The problem is some people want to be stuck on a thing. Right. If that's the case, fuck, you know,
That's right. You can't defeat that one.
You
Willful.
You can't do that. The second thing is, if they're having, which you said, you were helping me understand, keep in mind, or not understand, but keep in mind yesterday, is that people can get in feedback loops where they're constantly rewarded for being stuck, right? So that's audience capture.
Yes.
And then there are times when you can get that person, they're like, I just can't get it. And the only thing you can really do is time. Right? You have to give them time. They generally will figure it out with time, right? They'll figure it out with time. And some people you can get them over it. So very often I'm working with someone, I'm like, okay, he needs to get here and there and then there, right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And I say, how do I give you the breadcrumb? Because you can't just brute force it.
Right.
They have to own, right? They have to own the lead.
That's right.
Very Socratic, right? They have to own.
So that's the therapeutic method.
Exactly. And it's like, if I tell you, I might do this with a bunch, I do this, run into this a lot. Like, if I tell you the answer, then it's my answer. If I
That's
tell
right.
you the problem and you come with the answer, then it's your answer. Right? And the goofy thing about people is that if I give you the answer, you want it less than if you've come up with it, despite the fact that I've led you to the freaking answer. It's just human nature. I don't try to, Socrates didn't fight it. I don't fight it, right? That's just how you do it. You lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
That's it.
Anyway, all right. So we have done a very nice piece here. I think we need to summarize it. Subconscious, paraconscious, conscious, the other sciences.
There it is, right there. Turtles all the way down.
Yeah, turtles all the way down. So we have to deal with turtles. So funny how I have to subconsciously get you to give me permission to take a break and talk about something for a minute so I can recover my energy to focus again. I was talking to my friend Sally about this the other day. She says, it's like, I can self-audit at a very deep level, right? Is that common? She says, well, the problem in psychology is that the kind of people who do that select for the certain kind of psychologist. And so, does that make sense?
No, I think that because there's going to be, it's audience capture function, right? It's like you're going to find someone that you resonate with.
Yes.
And be rewarded for it.
Yes.
That's efficient, right?
Yeah. So, I love talking to her about the business. And
Yes.
she's really successful now. She's getting to that point where she's really getting there.
Good.
And, so I'm very proud of her. But I also recognize that she's actually good at what she does.
Yes.
And there aren't that many. And when they're good at what they do, they're so fucking expensive that people can't afford them.
Yes.
The people who need them, the little people.
There's a function there. This is quite interesting. It's like, so behavioral health, right?
Yes.
The people with the greatest disturbance are the least financially successful.
Yes.
And so they're outliers in terms of economically, they're on the fringes. Mm-hmm. and they need the most help.
That's right.
And they're the hardest ones to help. And they get so it's just this awful regress it's a failure, right? And it's like, what does that mean? Because the people who can afford,
go ahead.
The people who can afford the high end ones are the ones that are successful.
Yes.
And they can make the best use of their time. Mm-hmm. In terms of improving their performance, if that's what they're after, right? They're after some kind of performance enhancement.
Like Noah's expensive.
Yes.
But he's going to get you through your thing in 6 months, or he's going to tell you need a therapist instead of what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and thankfully, where he lives, you can call yourself a therapist, right? He lives in Europe. So in Europe, what he does can be called therapy. In the
Hmm.
States, you can't.
Hmm.
And so you have, because it's sort of like in Washington State, you can still be a lawyer. Less I knew, you can still be a lawyer just by passing the bar,
Hmm.
right? You have to demonstrate your capacity. You don't have to get you have to pay for a 4-year degree, right?
Right.
All right. So, which is, to me, there's those of us who can do that. That's great, right? Um, and so Noah's, of course, basically born and raised to do what he does because of his family background, right?
Yeah.
So he does this. So he makes a great living at it. But then there are other people, like, you see them and they're like, well, how can you possibly make money at this? When you talk to them, and you're like, this is intellectually embarrassing. But that doesn't mean that they won't connect with a person of a similar metaphysical set of premises than they do.
That's
and
right.
guide them out of it. So well, I'm more concerned that it's an asymmetry in the field of those wacky people versus the people who need them, right? And the people who need them most don't need that kind of person. They need the Noah and Taraban category of person.
Yeah.
In adult terms. Okay, so let's get to turtles all the way down. Um, where's the turtles?
I'm gonna make note of that little short. That was a
Well,
little short. I just passed the cup and
which short?
that short about therapists.
Okay.
That might be useful to cut out if you want later.
What the hell happened? There's the detail.
Here-
Where's the turtle? Here it is. Jesus Christ. Okay. I've already done this, right?
Yes.
We've already covered this.
Wait, yes. Did we put that in there?
I don't remember. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go for correspondence. No, I haven't done it. All right. Well, we just found out where we're going to do it.
That's useful.
Well, since it's the basis of freaking everything, it better.
Right.
Fucking.
But that's the purpose of the integration, right?
Yeah.
Is to guarantee these functions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, we got to get to we have to get to where we're talking about it though. And so what we're looking for is because that's a lot, those terms are logic. Predictions, intuitions, okay. So we're going to. We're using coherence consistently. Bryce, you really get an explanation of the brain reading this shit, don't you?
Yes.
Senses.
I think you might put it in the introduction to the whole thing. Right? with homeostasis.
Yeah, I think we're trying to. No, I think this is right. Because we're talking about this, the product of what, no, this is, we're doing it right.
Okay,
So we want to put this all together. Intuitions, conscious, whatever. So we're subconscious. Okay, and what are they testing for?
that's it. I
Right?
think it's at the beginning of this,
Yes,
like that part. No, right below that, the intuitions in the logic unintrospectable.
understandings. These patterns.
Patterns are organized by the brain. The brain organizes patterns in terms of consistency, coherence, and correspondence.
We got to figure out how to say that better, which is consistency.
Yeah. Yes.
No, logical consistency. Consistency, coherence, and correspondence needs to be numbered.
And they called it principles.
Okay,
Like logical, neurological principles, right? Or right. Okay. Oh.
I would like to get
The organization of signals, right? They're organizing signals in those terms.
like that. Yeah, this needs to be better. But let's go with that. And let's go with
That conclusion is good.
this one down here.
Yeah, I like this one.
wants to do it again. I'm not letting you do it, buddy. I'm not letting you do it.
Thinking about doing bad things. Markov chain seeking escape.
I want to get this in here.
Which one? The turtles?
Yeah,
Just, I think you put that in there at the end after that thing you just inserted.
I just don't like how it's written here.
Tell it to rewrite it. Or tell Claude to rewrite it.
Don't feel good about this. Don't feel good about this. Don't feel this is a concrete enough. Uh,
Hmm.
Hey, that's all I gotta do. Where did we say this? Does it go before or after that, this paragraph? You might go. It goes before.
Yeah. Yes. I would take away the, okay, that's fine.
Go ahead, take away the
The
parentheses
quotations is not necessary, but it's okay.
and just bold it
And
up.
I will, yeah. Then colon, yes. Thank you. I beat you to that one. I have to show that I'm alive. The audience is demanding it. I'm too captured. I like it.
Those are indented, those are indented. Something's not right. Oh, I know what it is. These aren't numbered.
Hmm.
I don't like they exist. This is my,
Yes.
No, it's not. It's perceptual. Logical consistency. Logical consistency. Here.
Is that the same series we had before?
No,
Okay.
we're presaging. Okay. We got that, but that's okay. No, where did I put the turtles all the way down?
You put them up there. There they are.
Oh, no, so I don't want to do it here. This is wrong.
There you go. Just pull it to that.
Jesus, Brad, that was good work. You ready? Were you willing to do the subconscious? You want to try, you want to try this one now?
We could do it.
How much time you got?
I've got time.
Yeah? You don't need more coffee?
Oh, I probably do need more coffee.
Let's pause for coffee.
All right,
I can find the pause button.
go for it.
You got to stop the share and then pause. That's the secret.
See, we're back.
I was just saying that I can't get rid of this movie in my head that's this Markov chains and this because they're just it's a white background. There's the little draw, because that's how you draw Markov chains, right? And they're like swirling around trying to find the way out. And I can't get rid of this freaking image in my head now. It's going to be with me all day.
Sorry, Kurt.
It's hysterical. What was the other funny thing you came up with that I made a note of here? Most are operating in a paraconscious state, not fully conscious.
I think they're conscious. That's what's really interesting about it. Wait, and even worse, they think they're equal. All of our consciousnesses are equal.
You can take the paternal view.
I told you it made me sad. I was a little bit just distressing a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, shake it off.
So in this, I'm gonna see if I can get this thing to front load me. So in this section,
You're not sharing.
no shit. Share screen. That didn't want to do it. I'm going to go down to here then. The hell with you. Share screen. Gonna bring up you. Share screen 2. Desktop 2. There we go. All right. Can you see the subconscious? The
Yes.
side of mind. So in this section of the chapter, we are discussing the subconscious. We are transitioning from intuition, that's which we just covered.
Yes. Huh. Oh my. it's more like overcome the inhibition of the frontal cortex, yeah?
Well, yeah. And in doing so, protection of the cortex. Um, I think it'd be interesting to try both AIs with this one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just gonna repeat what I said because I said too much. Okay.
Hmm.
What are really agents? Okay, so let's.
Oh my.
That's true though.
What's very interesting is there's a, if we look at it, the model that we have proposed to this moment is seeking the three things, the coherence, right?
Mhm.
I don't remember the three things right off the top.
Consistency, coherence, and prediction. And
So like the nervous system is continuously checking for those things
yes.
and then selects the best choice.
Mhm.
And the subconscious is the dissonance of all the different competing brain waves, right?
Yes.
It's just competing for and checking for consistency, coherency, and predictive against the value system that we have, right?
Mhm.
And that it just is solving for those three things.
Yeah,
And they're all
yeah, I gotcha. We just listed 3 of these things. They're all bad.
mhm. Well, they're all dreamy. It's like, okay, that doesn't, it's just
They're all bad.
the nervous system solves for consistency, coherency, and the third one that I forgot.
Oh,
already.
correspondence.
Correspondence, right? And it's the subconscious is the competition between ideas within that frame. They're the Markov chains trying to escape.
Mhm.
Until we find a solution, the monkeys will type.
So, so this is the way the framework I've tended to look at it, right? The problem is it's not operational. I would say, yeah, great. You've got a theory, right? You've got a
Right.
theory that is true, but meaningless.
It's not quite yeah, it doesn't have any base.
Yeah,
No, but the integration that you provide in the discussion of consciousness is the same story.
mhm.
But the subconscious is the pre-story, the prehistory of that story. And so it's just this solving for consistency, coherency, and then predictability. Correspondence.
And so let's get to where I'm conflicted. Right?
Yes,
Let's get to that, right? That you hear people say that. I'm conflicted. Right? And that's because there's a competition,
yes,
right, between these because you're not getting like this one concrete thing. You're just getting amplitude to get through the amplitude is getting high enough so that the thalamus passes in, gives passes information directs information in the prefrontal cortex.
right.
Right. So it's not that there's no activity there because you're going to get to the prefrontal cortex anyway, but it's not, the thalamus regulates so basically relations between things too, right? So you're not going to get that information over there in any volume to be accessed. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so how did I present to you? I'm conflicted. Well,
Yes.
the reason is that I'm subconsciously conflicted,
Yes.
right? I'm subconsciously conflicted, and that's because the rate, the cyclical rate, and thank you for letting me talk this through, the cyclical rate at which you recursively produce, because it's not like one idea forms and it stays.
That's right. It's just being
It's just being reprocessed all
right.
the time with this new stream of information. And so what's happening is when that happens, you get this set of networks that stays open.
That's right.
Right. So, oh yeah, this one's good. So it's like this set of networks, and just like there's a coherence between them.
That's right.
But there's a conflict between them.
There's a dissonance.
Right.
So they don't agree.
Right.
So there's an agreement function, right? And the conflict is competing for attention, right? It's adversarial competition until they come to an agreement.
Right.
There's no agreement. And
In other words, we
solve the problem.
We have consistency, but we don't have coherence, right? Not between, in other words, both things may be consistent, coherent, and correspondent, but when we're conflicted, it means they're not, what's the next thing? Preferable. There's no, so here's the thing. This is why I object to Mises and Rothbard. So if I have this field of predictions, right? I call them a field, right? This field,
right?
They're, and you keep them open. And I think of the one I wrestle with is, where do I want to move next? The answer is there's no outlying answer, right? There's a bunch of answers, all of them which seem good, right? I mean, right? but
There's none that is preferable.
there's none that's preferable. Because, and when you say preferable, it could be, these are all good, but you know, in the trade set of, they all have trade-offs. I
That's
can't
right.
resolve the trade-offs.
Right, so it's like this is what comes next is decidability.
Right, you have to reason now to work with it, all right, which is hard work, and it's also full of a lot of failure.
Yes,
So what we're trying
so
to
it's an insufficient motivation to come to an answer.
there's no decidability. Right, there's no
Right.
means to decide. We haven't reached.
Whether we don't need to
We
decide.
just got it. We just got, I knew if I fucking talked to you, I would get this. I have to, I gotta talk to Brad about, tell the story. Okay. All right.
So that's what they're seeking,
They're seeking decidability, which is.
decisive, between the competing neural networks, right? Seeking agreement, right? It's consensus.
Mhm. So we're looking for consistency, coherence, correspondence, and decidability.
Yes.
And
I
the-
like bringing that into this conversation
Yes.
because it's like it's going to play out later on, right?
Yes, exactly. This is really good. So,
Which is,
conflict,
it's a mirror of social, it's a mirror of society of mind is great, right?
yes,
Conflict resolution, right?
yeah. I got it in the wrong order here, but
Yes, you do, but that's okay.
predictions, we can use predictions.
Yeah. Preferences.
Okay, so
There's there's an interesting function which is disambiguation, okay? They go from ambiguous on the right to disambiguous on the left.
where is preferences in this? I keep trying it and I'm like, oh, it's over here.
Preferences are yeah, they're more conscious, right? There's preferences, there's biases, right?
In order to have a preference, is that conscious? Well,
Kind of.
technically, yes.
A bias that you may not be conscious of.
Yeah.
And then the conflicts and resolution of differences may be to the left of preferences.
Yes. Yes. Wish I had had it listen to the talk I gave on starting with Society of Mind and then walking through what's really happening. Now I've got to go write it I've got to go write down what it is, which is the same thing as, okay, this is what's happening, right? But it's what's getting your attention is just the first in a series that is continually refreshing. What is going on back here with my chair? Um, um, so because that actually, because I watched you get it when I said that, right? When I said it's just continually updating, so now you're getting this field, right? This field, because when there's something in this collection of predictions that's gating your attention. And to
Yeah.
some degree, it's that attention is necessary specifically because there's a conflict,
Yes.
right? It's
It
not
requires
clear.
more, it requires more brain power to resolve the conflict.
Resolve the
Come to
conflict.
decidability, right?
Yeah,
And so when you say you're conflicted, means you're still deciding
yes,
and you're insufficiently motivated to come to a decision now, but you're working hard at it. You're talking about it as a conflict.
painful.
So you could tell that story inside there.
I think so. It's because you started out with we have the story of
Between competing neural nets, right?
we haven't done, yeah, we've done all that. We've done the model, right? Memory. We've done memory formation. And we've done,
Remember where it is.
yeah, here it is right here.
Yes.
Self-reflection.
Okay.
Right. So now we've got,
Perfect.
I want to make sure faculties, we got the lobes, we got the, okay. And I think we decided to move. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so it's here. So we've got it all there. Right, so we can refer to it,
Yes.
right? And we've got all that. Now we've got the intuitions. Now we have the subconscious.
So this is there's a state function, right? Memories of former states and predicted states.
Yeah, so we can do, what I was getting is this.
Yes.
Right,
And so I would specify about what. Yes.
What are we really trying to get across here? So in the subconscious, we're trying to get across the society of mind. We're trying to get across competing interests.
Yes.
Because they don't know anything, right?
No, they're just making noise. They're trying to make noise into signal, right? That's coherence, right? They successfully being heard, right? By whom, right? By gaining the attentions of, yep. Recognized coherence, right?
Feel like I should start out with Minsky ahead. I don't know if I want to bring that in though.
Well, we could, so you talked about it. would put somehow inside this. They're self-organizing and self-reinforcing, right? The nervous system is self-organizing and self-reinforcing. We're solving for coherence, correspondence, and that's not in the right order. I should have written it down.
Consistency,
Yeah,
neurons consistency, competing groups as coherence, and then with memory correspondence. Right?
yeah.
Consistency, coherence, and correspondence. Can we do a Japan? Can we do it like Simon Says? So you raise your hand up.
There you go. I'm writing it down now so I don't forget. I don't want to be shamed later.
I'll find something else, and it won't be true, right? The best ones are the ones that are false. Why is it that what I love about you is that you're also a gentleman, and but because I try to be a gentleman, and you actually are one. That I find joy in it's like football players calling each other wimps, right? I mean,
Right,
it just doesn't make any sense at all.
right.
I had this beautiful collection of books on how to be a gentleman, which was a popular thing in the early '90s. There was a bunch of books came out in the '80s and '90s.
We're
And
over it.
right? And then that was just before the woke thing went full blast, and anything male was
Right.
considered negative. But at the time, there was the gentleman's movement, there was the men's fashion movement. I was really into all that stuff, right? Great things. But they went full hog on. They went full hog wild on it. The same thing with women in gaming. Who gives a shit about women? It's a male thing, right? I mean, it's nice when we have girls show up in games, but I mean, statistically, they don't matter. I mean, girls play things like 3 in a row, and they play stupid shit, right? Guys play war games, right? Why do we got to appeal to women? And then you get guys come out, and I think I told about this one before, where they go and play a female character so they can screw with other guys. I mean, it's just
Oh my God.
just to start trouble with them. I had one guy that we had a crush on my wife, create a character that looked like my wife,
Oh no.
and come and he was very artful about suggesting he knew me, right? But with plausible deniability. It actually gave me the creeps, like it was a stalker or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you had a crush on my wife, and all it does is tell me I made a good decision. But creeping me out is different.
That's right. Now, did we put this decidability in the discussion of the neuron?
Well, I don't think we have a decidability in the neuron. See,
The neuron decides. It decides when it decides to fire or not fire. That's its decision-making process.
Okay, that's a great question. What is the meaning of decide? This is decide a scale dependent or scale independent? What? What is that laughing for? I'm asking.
It is scale independent.
Well, I mean, you're asserting it, but now you're asserting it because I'll have to go refute it, right? And think it through. So if I think it through, I'm like, so it's sort of like cooperation. Are these things really cooperating? Well, not really. They're competing for coherence, right?
Okay.
But that ends up being cooperation, right? Are they deciding? Well, I mean, to make a decision means you need to have the capacity for memory and recursion. Did they have that ability?
They remember what is important and what they should pay attention to by virtue of their dendritic pruning functions. They're physically remembering.
Yes, they are. So
They don't know jack shit about what's going on, but they know they got a fire. This is a decision that's got done. Oh,
a decision is that which provokes an action.
action, right? And the action potential is what we're talking about, is a decision.
Look.
So what you have it going on in the subconscious is just lobbies, right? Emotions.
Put that
And the motions carry or don't carry. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find my scraps again.
There it is. Shit. This is for public comment and reserve.
Oh, I spelled gentleman wrong. What? I just spelled neuron. I just spelled gentleman wrong.
You did. You did a terrible job of it.
All right, come on. I want to get through this.
Yeah, man. So they learn by successfully being heard, which is at their motion being acted upon at a higher decision-making level, right?
I haven't got to the story. Story I want to tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't feel as good as when I said it to you.
Say that again?
This doesn't feel as good as when I said to you. Field of,
Yeah. Yes. I can't help but read that possibilities as if it were a goat saying it.
if it were a goat saying it,
Yes. Possibilities.
disutilities, what's wrong there? Do I have another I there? Why is disutilities
I
not
don't know. I don't.
definitive? That's right. My eyes are getting a little fuzzy.
Newest recursive associations. You like how that turned out? Hmm. Which is goes to decidability, goes to decision, goes to action. I like this. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yes,
You're gonna put coherence in there?
didn't I do it?
Oh, you did. It's like in a weird order. That we don't know, we didn't talk about it be like in that method before, right?
It has to be this way. I don't know how to do it either way. This, they, right? We get into the,
Recursions.
oh, we gotta get we don't got recursion here.
Hmm.
Always recursion. Continuous recursion of. But forget the R there.
I didn't. You remembered it.
In continuous recursion. Okay, explain this process to me. Okay, so in this context, explain. Who decides it? There's no criticism there.
And the problem is you're trying to write it down and it's loopy all the way through, right?
As well,
It's plumb loopy. It's just recursive loops and bouncing around in there, those Markov chains trying to get out. Towards consciousness, right?
mhm.
I think that covers it, man.
And the fact
no doubt. At all. Okay.
So
That needs a proper period though. At all. That subconscious thing went faster than I thought it would.
I don't feel we've reduced it.
Hmm?
Don't feel like we reduced it the same level of an analysis of it, and we need something to do with the physical structure.
What do you mean by that?
Um, we need this level of,
Okay, so
we need to deconstruct it.
I will argue with you on that a little bit, just to have the conversation.
Okay,
Because the issue with this is that the subconscious is a oft discussed, perhaps over discussed function that is an abstraction that is almost without meaning, right? Because it's a background function of the competition between these various factions inside the brain that are just making waves, and it's just a splashing around. It's like, what does this say about it? It's largely operating below our conscious level, so you're not aware of it, right? It's a background function, but it doesn't have it. It has no parts. It just has these competing elements inside there that you'd already discussed.
so we discussed the parts here. You're saying what's the difference between,
We mentioned the subconscious as a classification of within like a topic. That's a weird question to ask an AI, man.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, but see, the purpose of this is attention. That's the difference. The subconscious is to discover what's worthy of attention. That's a valuative function.
Yes. It's like it acts like the quantum background bubbling around, right?
It's brilliant, actually.
So look, this is an interesting function here that this sentence has caused me to think of, which is this, is that the state of depression, right, is I can see no way out. I see nothing worthy of attention.
So the problem is, I felt like we weren't answering it. There's, what's important? What's important?
Yeah.
Right, it may not take any more.
Say it again.
I hate to agree with you right now. I just don't want.
I live for this. Damn it, I need a bigger hat. I've got so many feathers.
I don't know, was there any concrete way of,
It's just, it's not, it's just another bigger neural networks. Just competing with each other and deciding what to do. And it's like, okay. That was good though. I like this, the function of the subconscious being put in there. That was nice.
yeah, we're not tying it back. That's what we're doing.
What's that?
Give me a second.
Yes.
What is it? Jesus.
Which is that there's this bit that you're working on right now goes, it can lead to exhaustion, right?
Mhm.
That's the other, if it cannot be resolved, it will lead to exhaustion. some form of exhaustion, which goes to that depression function that we were talking about a minute ago.
Yeah, if not. Actually move this to here then, right?
Okay. This is dramatic.
Mhm.
It's dramatic. I'm waiting for you to do that. And I'm watching your eyes because I'm like, you're not doing it. I'm like, it's like, oh,
Well, I'm doing it because I want to get the prior state. So there's a prior state before that, which is, I can't figure this out, but most people do, is they just wait for more information.
well, that's what the brain is telling you to do, right? What's funny to me about depression as a clinician, okay, is that it's thought to people think it's not a normal or functional state.
Mhm.
And it's like it has its purpose and it stops you from working and you gather more information. You stop working on that problem that you're unable to resolve, right?
Mhm.
And you spend some time gathering more information.
Yeah, there's a drop thing
What's that?
and what you're doing.
Yes.
I think I'm not making a point here. What are the, so the cumulative? Um, oh, I see what I'm doing. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, the brain.
What's that?
I forgot that we just stopped broker trend. How the brain.
I think it would be good to update.
Yeah.
There you go. I think you should have capitalized subconscious there. There it is, the yellow one.
That's what it is. Yeah, so subconscious intuitions.
Yes. Subconscious integrates the intuitions, right?
Mm. What'd you say?
Integrating the intuitions into the subconscious.
Yes, Brad, I think we did a good job today.
I'm impressed.
I did.
Like I said, I was a little bit afraid of this part. It's like, oh my God, we're opening up a big can of worms, man.
We went from 0 to this in one day.
That was
We
good work.
good. We gotta do this one. We gotta do that one. We got some stuff to go back and do, but I think we're ready to go back and do it. We did good freaking work today. All right,
Yes, sir. Well, may I address the audience?
please.
Well-
Undress or address?
Pardon me?
Do you say undress or address?
I don't believe so. But this is your chance to shine, audience. You've been working so hard, putting up with this chicanery for so long. And it's your chance. You can hit that subscribe button, or maybe this notification bell, and the like button, and then shine, leave comments. How's it, Kurt?
All right, it's Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. Still, thank you very much for, we've been 11, 12, 1, 2, we've been 3.5 hours. And we didn't, either of us seem to burn out too bad, which I'm kind of impressed by. All right.
Yes, sir.
And in our next session, we'll try to pick up and get a little further on the piece left behind, because what follows is, I think, quite a bit easier. All right. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Brad, you want to say anything afterwards? Are we done?
We could chat a little bit. That'd be great.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share. Then I'm going to say goodbye, everyone. Stop recording.